I was 25 the first time I paid my parents' mortgage. It was a Friday, I remember, because I had just finished work and was about to drive up to the coast for a weekend I'd been planning for months. Then Mom called. Her voice was tight, careful the way it always got when she needed something but didn't want to ask directly. "We're a little behind," she said just this once. It wasn't just once. The coast trip got canceled. I wired the money. And that was the beginning of the version of me they came to rely on, dependable, quiet, always a step ahead of the next crisis. When Dad needed emergency dental work and their insurance didn't cover it, I paid. When the hot water heater exploded the winter after Sable quit another job, I covered the plumber and groceries in the same week. I didn't even flinch anymore. It was just what I did. Meanwhile, Sable floated. One minute she was launching a smoothie blog, the next she was in LA selling handmade dog collars or posting vague modeling photos captioned with song lyrics. She changed cities the way some people change shoes. She never had enough money, but she always had a way of making everything about her look fun, untouchable, carefree. They never asked her to help. I used to think that was just how family worked. Everyone plays a role. Mine was being the fixer. I earned more, so I gave more. I was stable, so I absorbed the chaos. Sable called it Alara. Always being Alara like that explained everything, and I let her. I didn't need praise. I wasn't looking for recognition. But deep down, I guess I thought that meant something, that love looked like showing up, that the quiet, keeping everything together kind of care would be seen eventually. But it wasn't. And the day I realized that was the day I picked up a folder I was never meant to see. Dad had finally admitted he was overwhelmed. Too many papers piling up, too many bills slipping through the cracks. So I came over one Saturday with my scanner and laptop ready to help. He muttered thanks and turned on the news. I sat at the dining room table, sipping lukewarm coffee, sorting through faded envelopes and paperwork, so old it smelled like mildew. It felt routine until I saw the label. A red tab marked estate plan, tucked behind utility receipts and bank statements like it didn't matter. I hesitated. I'm not someone who snoops. But something in me, intuition, dread, maybe just exhaustion, told me to open it. So I did. The first page listed their names. The next, a summary of assets, the house, the savings, the car, the life insurance. Then came the allocations. Every single item, every bit of what they had was assigned to Sable. All of it. My name showed up once. One line near the bottom. "We leave our love and gratitude to both our daughters." That was it. No note, no letter, no special item, no mention of the years I'd helped them stay afloat. Just love and gratitude. Generic. Weightless. I blinked at the page, then read it again, slower this time. It didn't change. Every room I helped repair, every loan I quietly repaid, they were invisible here. I was invisible here. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just sat still, fingers pressed against the table like bracing for a tremor. Sable, the girl who once used their car to chase a DJ across 3 states, who borrowed my credit card and ghosted me for 2 months, was the one they had chosen. Not because she'd earned it, but maybe because she never stayed long enough to disappoint them. Dad walked in with a refill of coffee, still half watching the news. "You still scanning those papers, Elle?" he asked. I held up the will. "Did you mean for me to see this?" He paused, just for a second, then sighed. "College," he said. That was all. I stood up, closed the folder, and realized I'd been erased by people who still used my name. The next Saturday, I didn't go to their house. I didn't remind them about the thermostat settings or refill their prescriptions online or double-check that the gas bill had been paid on time. I just stayed home. Sunday came and went, then Monday. Still nothing. No text, no call, not even a passive-aggressive emoji from Sable. By Thursday, it became harder to tell if I was more hurt or more numb. I kept staring at my phone like it owed me an apology. It didn't blink. Neither did they. At work, I must have looked worse than I felt because Rhea stopped by my desk mid-morning, quietly sliding a granola bar next to my laptop. "You've barely touched your lunch," she said. "Want to come walk with me later?" I nodded, grateful for her presence. Rhea was never nosy, just observant in the way that people who've been through something often are. We walked around the block twice before she finally asked, "You okay?" I told her about the will. Not everything, just enough. She didn't gasp or offer advice. She just let it settle between us. Then, after a few seconds, she said, "You know you don't owe them survival, right?" It was such a simple sentence. It landed somewhere beneath my ribs like a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. That night, I went home and left my phone on the kitchen counter. I cooked for myself. I lit a candle. I watched a documentary about sea otters for no reason at all, and I didn't check for messages because I already knew. The only thing louder than their silence was the clarity it gave me. They hadn't noticed I was gone because they'd never really seen me in the first place. 3 weeks later, the silence finally broke with a text about the heater. It had been 22 days since I left their house. Not that anyone was counting except me. I hadn't called, hadn't shown up, hadn't reminded anyone about auto-pay deadlines or prescription refills. And in all that time, I received nothing but silence. Until the text came through. "Darren, hi, sweetheart. Heater's acting up again. Can you check before the weekend, thanks?" No mention of the will. "No, how are you?" Just an expectation wrapped in a nickname. I stared at it for a full minute, then typed "call someone else." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then a second message came, not from her, but from Callan. "Callan, don't be dramatic. We didn't think you needed anything from the will. You've got your life together." That made me laugh out loud, the kind of laugh that comes from someplace bitter and exhausted, as if being responsible disqualified me from being acknowledged, as if competence meant I was ineligible for care. I didn't reply. But a few hours later, Sable did. "Sable, you're acting weird. This isn't a big deal." That one made my chest tighten. Because if it wasn't a big deal, then what was I? I looked at the message, then typed slowly, "Then pay the mortgage." She answered instantly. "Girl, I can't afford that. That's your thing." My thing. The roof over their heads, the groceries in their fridge, the holiday lights that still flickered on a timer every evening because I had bought and programmed them. All of it my thing, and yet none of it had earned me even a footnote in their future. That night, I opened my banking app and paused the auto transfer for their utility bill. The next morning, I opened the group chat with my parents and hit leave conversation. It was time to stop pretending they didn't make a choice, and time to show them I could too. 3 days later, they showed up at my door. I was halfway through a cup of reheated coffee when the front desk called. "Hi, Ms. Winslow. There are 2 people downstairs saying they're your parents. They're asking to come up." My heart didn't drop. It hardened. "I didn't invite anyone," I said. "I understand. They said it's urgent. They look determined." "Please don't let them up." "Got it," the man said, hesitating. "But they're not leaving." I stood there for a few minutes, then grabbed my keys and walked down. They were waiting just outside the glass doors of the building. Mom, in a tailored coat pearl earrings, her expression pulled tight in rehearsed fragility. Dad looked tired, arms crossed, saying nothing, and Sable stood beside them like an extra witness to their performance. I opened the door just wide enough to step into the frame. No further. Mom stepped forward immediately. "Sweetheart, we just need 5 minutes. That's all?" I didn't move. "No," I said, voice steady. "You need money. That's all." Her face flinched like I'd slapped her. "That's not fair." "Neither is leaving your daughter out of your will," I said. "Let's call it even." Dad's jaw flexed. "We didn't come here to argue." "No, you came to make me feel guilty enough to keep paying your bills." I paused. "But I'm not doing that anymore. Ask Sable." Sable scoffed. "Don't drag me into this." "You're already in it," I snapped. "You got the house, the savings, everything. So why am I still the one expected to fix what breaks?" No one answered. I folded my arms. "You raised me to believe family was about love, but now I see it was about leverage. And now that you have nothing left to hold over me, you're panicking." Mom's lip trembled. Dad looked away. Sable muttered, "You're being dramatic." I smiled faintly. "No, I'm being done." I closed the door without another word. By Monday, they were already telling their version of the story online. It started with a vague Facebook post. "Sometimes the child you raise with the most love is the one who forgets first." beneath it a photo from a family hike. I had planned the trip, paid for the cabin, the groceries, even the matching rain jackets they wore for that picture. I wasn't tagged, but I didn't have to be. The caption was enough. By noon, there were a dozen comments. "You were such good parents. Some kids just forget where they came from. We raised ours right, thank God." I scrolled through them with a blank expression, heart steady but chest heavy. Later that day, Dad added his own post, just a shade more pointed. "Raised a daughter with everything she needed. Thought she'd take care of us when the time came. Instead, she walked away." He tagged me. The next morning, Sable joined in. She didn't write a status. She didn't have to. She posted a filtered selfie on the porch swing with Mom, eyes glistening just enough to catch the light. The caption read, "She doesn't deserve this. But I'll keep showing up even when others don't. That's what family means." And then, of course, the screenshot $1,000 transferred via Venmo to Mom and Dad, labeled "Because love doesn't skip payments." The comments exploded. "You're amazing, Sable. Your parents are lucky to have you. Wish my daughter was more like you." They were crafting their narrative bit by bit. They had the first word, the louder word. And I stayed quiet. Not because I was ashamed, not because I didn't have proof, but because I knew the truth would be drowned by the volume of their performance. They wanted sympathy. They wanted to be right. And above all, they wanted me to break character. I didn't, at least not yet. But that night, I sat down to write the words they weren't expecting. I had held back longer than anyone expected, not out of fear, just exhaustion. The truth sat in my throat like a stone too heavy to carry, too sharp to swallow. But that night, I opened my laptop and typed. "I've stayed silent while my family turned this into a public story. I won't drag anyone, but I'll share what's mine. For 5 years, I financially supported my parents quietly without asking for recognition. I paid their mortgage, their utilities, their groceries, their repairs. I did it because I loved them, because I thought love meant stepping up without being asked. I never expected a thank you. I never expected anything." I paused, then kept going. Then I found out I'd been removed from the will. Everything, house savings, car insurance, was left to someone else. No conversation, no explanation, not even acknowledgement. So I made a choice to stop being used, to stop paying for a kind of love I never really received. If that makes me selfish, so be it. But I won't apologize for protecting my peace. I hit post and waited. The first responses came quickly. A high school friend messaged, "I always knew you carried more than people realized." Then a coworker, "Proud of you for setting boundaries." But not all were kind. "No matter what, you don't air family business online." "Sounds like you're bitter you didn't get the money." "Parents aren't perfect, get over it." I read every word. Some stung. Some landed like a small breath of validation. But mostly I felt lighter. Not vindicated, not triumphant. Just lighter. For the first time in this whole mess, I'd stopped hiding. And of course, that meant the next strike was coming. It arrived in the mail 4 days later, handwritten and sealed. It arrived on a Tuesday, cream-colored envelope, cursive handwriting, the kind of thing people send when they want to seem gentle while delivering something sharp. I opened it slowly, careful not to rip the paper. Inside, Darren's script curved neatly across the page, every loop and flourish practiced deliberate. "Dear Ilara, we're heartbroken that you've chosen distance over family. This has gone too far. The will is not permanent, you know that. It can change. But your public behavior has been deeply hurtful. Sable is doing her best to hold us together while you unravel everything. She's hurting too, though she hides it well. We're ready to move forward as a family, but you need to apologize publicly. Until then, we will be stepping back for our own emotional well-being. Love, Mom. Love, Mom. Not, I'm sorry, not. We didn't realize, not even, let's talk. Just a list of conditions dressed in civility. Forgiveness available, but only if I returned to my assigned role. The dutiful daughter. Quiet, generous, unthanked. I sat with the letter for a long time. Not angry, not surprised, just still. Then I folded it once, placed it back into the envelope, and filed it away in the same drawer that held the estate plan. I didn't reply. because I finally understood something they never would. I wasn't the one who walked away. They built a system that was never meant to hold me, and when I stopped carrying it, they called it abandonment. They didn't want reconciliation. They wanted compliance. And I wasn't offering that anymore. The silence that followed wasn't a punishment. It was peace. And for once, I let it stay. There were no more messages, no more guilt-laced texts, no more Facebook updates twisted into parables. Just silence. The kind that used to scare me. The kind I used to fill with errands and reminders and perfectly timed check-ins. But now it felt clean. I made coffee in the morning and drank it hot, not forgotten. I slept through the night without waking up to the panic of a parent's missed call or a flashing bank notification. My calendar had blank spaces, now wide, calm gaps where other people's needs used to live. Ria invited me to a ceramics class after work on a Thursday. "You don't have to be good," she said. "You just have to show up." So I did. I sat at a clay-streaked table, sleeves rolled up, fingers clumsy but focused. We laughed when my mug collapsed in on itself like a tired mushroom. I hadn't heard my own laugh in weeks, not like that. After class, we walked to her car in the cool evening air, and I felt it something like the early stages of relief. Not joy. Not yet. But something real. That night, I came home, made tea, and stood by my window with the lights off. The city moved outside like it always had, but I felt different. Not emptied, not bitter. Just finally whole in the quiet. I whispered it to myself, barely audible but certain. They wrote me out, but I finally rewrote myself. The next morning, I opened my banking app and did what I should have done months ago. The old Venmo log was the first to go. I opened the app, scrolled past years of transfers labeled groceries, electric, copay, water heater, and hit delete. Then I opened my bank settings and canceled the auto payments tied to their accounts. For a second, I hesitated. Not out of guilt, just habit. That quiet reflex I'd built over years of filling in gaps without being asked. But this time I clicked confirm. 2 days later, I signed the lease. It was a modest cabin 2 hours from the city, tucked near a lake I'd only ever driven past on road trips. The kind of place that didn't come with responsibilities I didn't choose. The kind of place where silence meant rest, not punishment. Raya came with me the day I picked up the keys. She didn't ask questions. Just brought boxed takeout and a bottle of ginger beer and helped me drag my mattress up a narrow stairwell that smelled like pine and dust. We sat on the floor that first night, legs crossed, unpacked dishes still in the car. She asked gently, "You okay?" I nodded. "I think so," I said. "I think I will be." Later, after she left, I opened the folder I hadn't touched since the day I found it, the estate plan. I didn't read it again. I just placed it in the back of a drawer, shut it softly, and walked away. I didn't need to burn it. I didn't need to prove anything. I'd already done the only thing they never expected me to do. Leave. And mean it. They left me nothing. So I built something of my own.